This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy. 98FM.
Now, here is a Facebook post that has gone viral. It has been seen by, well, it's been shared by 7,000 people. Can anyone with kids please be careful around Blanchardstown shopping centre, particularly the West End Retail Park? That was a post written by a lady called Lorna and her husband Mark. Lorna, welcome to 98FM.
Hi, how are you?
Lorna, tell me what is next in your post and tell me what happened at West End Retail Park.
Basically, myself and my two sons had just been in a shop and we were walking back down by the Nike store, Home Sense store, and I was pushing a buggy and my almost 7-year-old son was just beside me, and as we were walking, a group of men just kind of walked onto the path in front of me, and I remember thinking in my head, God, they're a little bit intimidating, but I wasn't in any way frightened or scared or anything like that. So they were taking up a good bit of the path, so we kind of had to walk by them, and my son just went a few steps behind me. So I was glancing back just to make sure he was there and all was fine. And we got to the level crossing to cross over to the car. And next of all, he was right beside me. So crossed over to the car, got to the car, and at that point he told me that somebody had tapped him on the shoulder and put out his hand to him and kind of beckoned with his head to him. And that was it. So I got him to explain it a couple of times. Just, you know yourself, kids, you can't. You need to get them to say things a few times just to make sure the details are correct. So each time he told me exactly the same thing, what this man had done. So I was standing over at the car at this point, and I looked over and I saw the guys going into one of the shops, and I kind of didn't really know what to do. I said, right, maybe I'll go over and look for a security guard to say something to security. So I walked over again, and they were walking ahead of me again. At this point, I was obviously more intimidated, so I didn't want to go too near them. But I couldn't find any security. And they walked off and not a bother on them. And at that point then I decided to ring the guards, just obviously to make them aware of what had happened.
And did the guards show up?
Yeah, the guards were there within kind of 15, 20 minutes and took a full report from me and spoke to my son. And then they went into the shop to try and get some CCTV footage if they could of the guys. So I was really happy with how quickly they came and took it seriously, because I wasn't sure in my own head if I was being a bit too kind of overprotective. But then as I thought about it more, I kind of went, no, do you know what? This is actually very serious.
Okay, so your son was a couple of steps behind you.
Yeah.
And 4 big guys walked up, one tapped him on the shoulder and put out his hand for him to go with him. Yeah,
kind of beckoned with his head a little bit to go with him.
How old is your son?
He's almost 7.
He's almost 7. Okay, so he knows what's happening. He knows.
Yeah, we've had the conversation a few times. We've recently moved to a new area, and kind of he goes out, obviously since the good weather, he's up and down the road on a scooter and stuff, and we've had the conversation a good number of times about what to do if anybody approaches you or does anything to you. So obviously he's got a good bit of sense, so I was very happy that at least he had that sense to say no. He told me he said no to the man and then just ran up to me.
So the Gardaí are now checking the CCTV from that centre?
Yeah, they're checking from the store that the men went into, and then the 2 stores that we walked by to see if they had exterior cameras to see anything, or basically see what happened.
Okay, now, I've seen the Facebook post, 7,000 shares, so it's been very widely seen. There was, though, I did notice some negative comments on it about your post being scaremongering, and it's something we've spoken about on this show many times, about scaremongering with regard to child abduction and whatever, but you're absolutely adamant that this isn't scaremongering at all.
No, look, I would be one of the first to look at some of those posts myself. And I mean, up until this point, I would have said, Janie Mac, like, it really is. Did it really happen like that? Like, I would be one of those that would kind of maybe say, is it a bit of scaremongering? But I think when it happens to you and it's your child, and as I said, I mean, children sometimes exaggerate, which is why I got him to tell me a few times what happened. I think it's only right that these people are walking around. And I mean, as I said, I wasn't scared of them. I thought maybe they were a little bit intimidating, but I wasn't myself in any way frightened of them. But if they could be so blasé just to do that, well, people should be aware. And maybe, look, it's taught me a lesson that I need to keep my son beside me at all times. And it's terrible because it's taking away maybe a bit of his independence. But at the end of the day, you can't take any chances when it's your kids. And if I feel like if I didn't share it and say what happened, well, then what if it happened to somebody else? What if this exact thing happened to somebody else and the younger child may have gone with them? And I think I would feel extremely guilty that I didn't maybe just
share, at least share your experience. Yeah.
Exactly, of what had happened. So, I mean, I had no idea it was going to kind of go as viral as it did, realistically. But anything to make anybody more aware is just, it's important to me. And like somebody did comment saying maybe they were just being friendly. And you know what? Maybe they were, but if nobody has any right to touch my child.
If the Gardaí have access to the CCTV, they'll be able to see the exact incident. And have they told you when they'll be back to you?
No, not yet.
Not yet. All right. Well, look, keep in touch with us, Lorna, because we'd be very interested to see if there is anything sinister in what happened to your son yesterday. So I'd be very interested to hear what the Gardaí actually say over the next couple of days. All right, Lorna, good to talk to you, and thanks very much for sharing your story.
No problem. Thank you very much.
So once again, that incident happened at the West End Retail Park yesterday. Young son, a couple of steps behind her, 4 men walked up, tapped him on the shoulder, and one put out his hand for him to go with them. She's fairly certain about it, and so is he. This is 98FM's Dublin Talks.
This is a podcast of 98FM's Dublin Talks. Remember, catch the show live Monday to Friday at 10 a.m.
98FM's Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
98FM.